Welcome to the Sunday morning simulcast with Rom Wills. You have to keep going. You have to keep going. That's the message. I mean, no matter what you're doing in life, where you trying to go, you have to keep going. Because how many of us have had some goal, some dream, some vision? And we might go a little bit, but then we run into those inevitable, and I do mean inevitable detours. And then we stop. There's many people who've had a dream. It could be to write a book, write a song, start a cooking business, do whatever, get a house. I don't know, whatever it is. And they run into some problem. They fall into that hole. They run into that brick wall. And instead of climbing out of that hole or going around or over the wall, they just stop. You have to keep going. Because I'm going to tell you what, and I've said this a million times, and I'm going to say it a million more times. I'm going to say this until I make that transition. You got to keep going. See, success is not a straight line. I wish it was. I really wish it was. It'd be so much easier for everybody on the planet if success was a straight line, but it's not a straight line. It's more like a squiggly line. You can go a little bit in a straight line, but then you run into that detour, you run into that hole, you run into that problem. Then you might have to step back a bit. You might have to do something different. Shoot, because I've, reading the biographies of many successful people, they can look back at bad times and laugh about it. But they said that's what changed everything for them. But one of the things they did was they kept going no matter what. I'm gonna tell you what. I'm in the position I'm in because I kept going. I always joke I had 1,000 jobs, maybe not technically 1,000, but I had a lot of jobs. But I had a dream of having some control over my life. Being in a position where I didn't have to work for anybody. I could take care of everything. I'm in that position now, but trust me, it was a journey. And there were times where I thought I was there, but I wasn't. Things, beyond my control. Now I have things under my control. I'm able to live the way I want to live, but it took a long time. But the thing was, I never gave up. I kept going. You got to keep going no matter what. No, I don't care what it is. I don't care. If you writing that book, it might take you years to write that book, but you need to finish that book. Or you want to come up with a recipe for something. You want to cook, or you want to start that business, especially in business. You might not start off great. You might, you might start off someplace and you might just be in the wrong location. You have to move to another location. Like I said, and I've read many books, many biographies of successful people. And it was never a case of them just going straight ahead. Shoot. I mean, I've read stuff, some of them were homeless. Some of them, they didn't have the financing, they had to do whatever. Some of them couldn't, they couldn't really eat. Like I remember the time I had $4 to get me through a week. I remember that time. I'll never forget that time. I always remember it. Now I was working on a job too, had a place to stay, but I only had $4 to get me through a week. $4, but I kept going. Now, shoot, now the thing is, even right now, it was like not eating too much. But you just gotta keep going. I'm gonna tell you what, when you have a dream, that's something that you want to do. That's deep inside of you. And I talked about that. I talked about that the other week, couple weeks ago. If you have a dream and it don't come true or you don't make it happen, you're not going to feel good because it's always going to be there. It is better that if you have a dream that you keep going no matter what the obstacle, then you don't do it at all because you will regret it. If you just stop somewhere And there's many of people, I've talked with many of people, they have a dream about doing something, they'll have a vision, and they'll just stop. Like one of the things I do, I encourage people. I don't care what their dream is. I never tell anybody, oh, you can't do that. I'm like, oh, okay, when you gonna do it? You know, when you gonna have that cherry pie for me that you say you're gonna make? You know, when you gonna write that book that I'm going to read? You know, when you gonna create that song? You know, when you going to get that house? I always encourage people. And yeah, look, let's just be real. It's tough. It is tough. And I've said that before. I've said that on the Sunday videos before. It is tough, but you still got to keep going. You know, you fall in that hole, you still got to climb out of it. You run into that brick wall, you got to figure out a way over it, around it, whatever, maybe through it. I don't know. But you got to keep going, because trust me. Now, I've written several books, you know, and I've done a lot of the stuff that I wanted to do. But the key was I kept going. I didn't stop. I didn't let anything stop me. And there were some things, trust me, I didn't know about. You know, I didn't know about a lot of things, but I learned it, you know, because what I wanted required that I do so. You're gonna figure it out. I don't care what it is. You have to keep going. Don't stop no matter what. Don't stop. Keep going. Keep going. And yeah, look, let's just be real. It's not easy. And there's gonna be times you want to give up. You're gonna be, and even one of the things too, sometimes you might tell other people what you want to do, and somebody who don't have that vision, they might tell you to give up. One thing I'll say real quick, let me just throw this in there. You don't. Sometimes you gotta keep stuff to yourself because other people are not seeing your vision. And you know, they ain't seeing your vision, or if they do see your vision, you do share it with them. They like, oh, why don't you give up? Why don't you quit? Because they not you. Remember, you have to answer to yourself. You have to answer to the person in the mirror. You're not gonna feel good if you're not gonna do something. Because I've met scores of people who had a dream about something and they didn't do it. You know, scores of people, they still didn't do it, even with my encouragement. They're like, oh, I can't do that or anything. Man, please. No matter what, keep going. Keep going. Do what you have to do. You want to keep rising. That's why I always say keep rising. Keep going. And yes, it's not going to be a straight line. I've been saying that. I'm going to say that. But it's like you start off maybe in a straight line. You in that squiggly ball. You have all those detours and everything. But then you end up in a straight line. So you have to keep going no matter what. No matter what. Just keep going. I don't care what it is. I don't care what your dream is. It's your dream. You know, I don't have to know anything about it. I'm encouraging you to do it though. All right. So anyway, you have to keep going. You have to keep rising. You have to keep rising to become the best person that you can be. You have to keep rising. You have to keep going. Okay. That's all I have for today. Keep rising to become the best version of the person that you are. And it's more than that you are meant to be, that you should be, that you are going to be, because you are going to keep going, all right? I'll get back with y'all. Peace and blessings.